Welcome back to Mid Morning Live, and joining me on set, joining Vashti and I on set is Bridget Hyacinth, author of The Edge of Leadership, and of course, you know, Vashti is the editor at Central Beat Magazine. So we're going to discuss some of our local issues, Trinidadian problems, but we're going to put a nice spin on it. We're going to give them some answers to, you know, we're not just going to discuss what's happening. We're going to say, like, it is about caring and sharing at the end of the day.
Yes.
And a lot of people who are abusive have been abused. And that's why we're going to start with. We see a lot of abuse, children being abusive in school, they're being rough and fighting, and I think the teachers are being overwhelmed. We're seeing men and women, let's not make it one-sided. Women do beat up on men as well. And the road rage, because that's where the accidents are happening. So it's been proven that an abuser and a person who's been abused becomes an abuser. So even for road rage, I think there's a certain level of anger to be contained. We all should probably go for therapy.
Actually, I say that all the time. The whole country needs therapy.
Yeah.
I think a missing element is patience. We really don't have patience anymore. We are now society. We want this now.
Well,
So
yeah.
it translates into everything possibly that we do sometimes.
Yes, correct. And so I think what we should do before we go into the different segments for kids, for marriages, let's discuss the five things to make a woman feel loved.
5 ways to
And
make a man
wa-
feel loved,
and
5 ways to make a woman feel
And
loved.
now, y'all, the men list first, okay? So don't think it's and yes, we all need to coexist. It's not about, we cannot live without men. Men cannot live without women. I mean, how we gonna procreate, okay? We need each other. So let's not say it's about us against them. It's about all of us existing and living better than existing, having a good life, sharing the love, sharing the caring, because we are all now. It's really, as she said, that instant gratification thing is only about me. It's only about me. So let's get it back to Today, let's do something different. It's the 29th of February.
And
Let's
as
do
you
something. It's
said-
a different day. Let's do something different.
As you said, Diane, if we just would care more, I think that is the basis of everything. Because as you said, there's a root of selfishness. It's about me, myself, and I. And if we really would take the time to care and consider others' emotions, you know, that will go a long way, you know, to the development of relationships as well.
Of course, and not just male-female relationships.
Families, everything, too,
Everything.
as well, is affected.
So,
Yeah.
so editor at large, let's get our five stuff going here. Five.
Okay. So the first one is get to know me. 5 ways to make a man feel loved. Get to know me. And so we have no man here to tell us what that means to him. So basically,
Well,
I think it
it-
holds true for men and women.
Interest in what
women.
he's doing,
Yeah.
his personality, what
Yeah.
makes him tick,
Yes.
who he is as a person, and how you could accommodate that in terms of making him feel even more special by doing the things that he would like.
Yeah, and there's a paragraph here that says, and contradicts so much of what we think about men, which says, I'm certain you would be surprised by the levels of depth and tenderness that we men can contain within us and sometimes hide from the world because we aren't yet sure how it will be received. And the myth out there is that men are all about being tough and strong and they're not allowed to cry or be soft and tender. But a lot of men have that within them, and the fact is, the patriarchy has made men believe that that is
Rough.
what they're supposed to be, and yet, you know, so we try to, in this feminism, if I'm allowed to talk about feminism here, is all about making men and women realize that they are
Don't let
more
me
than
coin-
what they
don't
have
let me
been
coin
told
my new
they
word on
are.
the air. My new word. We have to get one for the men, right?
Yeah,
Feminism.
feminist. So it's. I think what this says is that men should be free to be who they are within themselves as well, because we should not define what a man is in absolute terms in the same way that we should not define what a woman is in absolute
So a
terms.
woman could be hard and a man could be soft, okay?
Yeah,
Good.
We all have, as you said, we have that
Both.
feminine
Yes.
and masculine energy.
Energy. Correct.
The thing
And,
is how it's accepted in society too as
exactly.
well. Because if a guy is or a man is soft, you know, we view it as a weakness in that sense.
If a woman is strong, it's something very negative.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
very.
which is why female leaders are often, if you remember just recently, Hillary Clinton was condemned by a lot of journalists, male journalists and male politicians for being too shrill, that she shouted too much, you know, and they found that, they objected to that, whereas when men shouted, when they were talking,
It was
they were okay with that.
But the thing too about leaders as well is that sometimes in my research, women leaders think they need to put on this tough persona and be like a man and dress like, yeah, I have to be like them and tough and don't show emotion.
Correct.
But that makes you so authentic that, you know, you lose credibility. I think it's more even to like some CEOs like Marissa May and them, they have this, you know, with her recent, you know, even in terms of maternity and commuting, her recent policies seems very tough. And when you can be more humble and natural and be you, people will resonate with you more. So even though it's sad that
Be
even
yourself.
women leaders think they need to be like that to be successful, it's not the case.
Yeah, but that comes from how we were socialized, which is that the male way of running the world and running business was valued
Yes.
above the female way of getting things done, which is more inclusive. We define it as the male being, the traditional male being hierarchical, whereas the female way of doing things was always like, sort of like a spider's web, which is like you're at the center if you're a boss, but you reach out around
Yes.
to
But
to people around.
it goes further than just work. I think the time is changing. We still have to get our personal forum for spirituality, but it is coming around where women are being pushed into leadership roles,
Yes.
and they have not been well prepared to accept it. And I think if you look at the household, the real leaders in the house is the woman. Because she really is the center of everything in the home.
She holds everything together, holds the family together.
And I remember this is long, long ago, probably 20-something years ago, one of my friends, her mom was saying, that big business he built, it wasn't for me. He couldn't do it because she was somebody who worked just in the market, and she was able to start to see the business and make, but instead of her pushing herself forward, she pushed him. But he had no business yet.
Yeah.
And she did everything and made him who he was.
Sacrifice.
And when she was 60, she realized that this is not working.
You know.
And they broke up. But you have to realize that, and at the end of it, it comes just like the little boy we were talking about. If you're not true to yourself,
Exactly.
you have to be a big, giant person to be unhappy and stay and really take everything and pretend nothing's happening. So strength for especially at that age to realize this is not working. I need to get out. I need to do something. And she really was the business head behind everything, and they were multimillionaires at that stage.
Right.
And she left. So you have to realize that sometimes we don't give that credit, and you're pushing that person, and he's the one in society getting all the kudos and all the pomp and ceremonies about him.
But in the
Yeah.
process, you're actually losing yourself as well.
And that's what happened to
That's
powerful
sadly,
women, strong
yes.
men. So we continue our discussion, 5 ways to make a man feel loved and 5 ways to make a woman feel loved. So back in a moment.